December 11th, 1998. On day 9 of their mission to construct the International Space Station, the crew of Space Shuttle Endeavour is unpacking new hardware when they spot an irregular shadow floating some distance away. They quickly take photographs of the oddly shaped object, but its dark color makes it difficult to identify, almost as if it was meant to be camouflaged against the darkness of space.
NASA has taken some weird photos over the years, like really weird. I'm talking strange lights, bizarre shapes on planets, and stuff that straight up looks like alien tech. Of course, NASA usually brushes it off, saying it's just shadows, space debris, or our brains playing tricks on us. But come on, some of these pictures are just too strange to ignore. Could they be proof that we're not alone? Or is it all just a bunch of overactive imaginations running wild? Either way, these 20 photos are some of the most mysterious and interesting NASA has ever taken. And if certain theories are true, they might not stay public forever. This might just be your last chance to check them out before they disappear. Starting with 20, the face on Mars. Back in 1976, NASA's Viking 1 orbiter was cruising around Mars, snapping pictures like a tourist with a brand new camera. Then it caught this, a giant human-like face staring up from the planet's surface. This isn't eye, it's an actual face-shaped landform in the Cydonia region, complete with what looked like eyes, a nose, and a mouth. NASA, of course, immediately brushed it off, saying it was just a trick of the light and shadows playing on a rocky mesa. But let's be real, no one's buying that explanation. At least I'm not. The image spread like wildfire, and before long, theories popped up everywhere. Some believed it was proof of an ancient Martian civilization,
Something left by a lost civilization.
like a massive statue left behind by an intelligent species. Others thought it could be a long-lost alien structure,
I believe that the face on Mars was created from possibly an existing mesa.
eroded over time but still recognizable from space. The hype got so big that NASA had to take clearer photos decades later, and sure enough, the face looked a lot less like an actual face, just a regular old rocky hill. Not suspicious at all. Still, that original Viking 1 image is hard to forget. It's one of those things that makes you wonder, was it just a coincidence, or did we catch a glimpse of something we weren't supposed to? Even if NASA's explanation is legit, the face on Mars will always be one of the most famous and most debated photos ever taken of the red planet, one that's kinda already been deleted and replaced with the updated one. 19th, Phoenix Lights. The Phoenix Lights incident is one of the most famous and stubbornly unexplained UFO sightings in history. On March 13th, 1997, thousands of people across Arizona, Nevada, and even parts of Mexico looked up and saw something very unusual: massive, glowing lights hovering silently in the night sky. And we're not talking about a couple of flickering dots. Witnesses described a massive V-shaped or boomerang-like craft so big it blocked out the stars as it passed overhead. Naturally, officials scrambled to explain it away. The military claimed the lights were just flares, dropped during training exercises. But if that were true, why did so many credible witnesses, including former Arizona Governor Fife Symington, insist that what they saw was not military aircraft? Symington even admitted years later that he believed the object was extraterrestrial in origin. Despite all the debunking attempts, the Phoenix Lights remain one of the most compelling UFO events ever recorded. Whether it was aliens, top-secret government tech, or something even stranger, one thing is certain: the people who saw it never forgot. 18th Rendlesham Forest Incident. The Rendlesham Forest Incident is basically the UK's version of Roswell, except instead of random civilians seeing something weird, it was US military personnel on an Air Force base. In December 1980, over 2 nights, multiple servicemen stationed at RAF Woodbridge, an American base in England, reported seeing strange, glowing lights coming from the nearby forest. Some even claimed they saw a small triangular craft moving through the trees. One of the most famous photos from the incident shows a bright, glowing object in the darkness, supposedly taken during the encounter. While skeptics argue the light could have been from a distant lighthouse, lighthouse. Because apparently, lighthouses move through forests now, the witnesses, including high-ranking officers, stuck to their story. They described the craft as metallic, with strange symbols on its surface, and even claimed it emitted radiation, which was later confirmed by Geiger counter readings. The military, of course, downplayed the whole thing, because admitting to an alien encounter isn't exactly standard protocol. But between the photographic evidence, audio recordings from that night, and multiple first-hand accounts, Rendlesham remains one of the most well-documented UFO cases in history. Yet, there's no confirmation on what really happened here. 16. Japan Airlines. Cargo Flight 1628. Incident. The Japan Airlines Flight 1628 incident is one of the most compelling UFO encounters ever recorded, mainly because the witnesses were highly experienced pilots and the whole thing was backed up by radar. On November 17, 1986, a JAL cargo plane was flying over Alaska when Captain Kenju Terauchi and his crew noticed something following them. Not just a blip in the distance, 3 massive glowing objects, one of which was estimated to be 4 times the size of their Boeing 747. Terauchi described the objects as having a warm amber glow with flashing lights and a structured metallic appearance. At one point, 2 of the UFOs maneuvered unnervingly close to the aircraft, illuminating the cockpit with intense light before abruptly disappearing. The largest object then followed the plane for nearly 400 miles, showing up on both military and FAA radar, so not exactly swamp gas. Despite all this, officials downplayed the encounter, and Terauchi was briefly grounded for speaking out. While skeptics have tried to brush it off as reflections or weather phenomena, the radar data, crew testimony, and sheer size of the unidentified craft make this case hard to ignore. 15th Chilean Navy UFO Incident. The Chilean Navy UFO incident is one of those rare cases where a government actually releases UFO footage instead of burying it under a pile of classified documents. On November 11, 2014, a Chilean Navy helicopter was conducting a routine patrol along the coast when the crew spotted something strange, an unidentified flying object moving at high speeds. They tracked it for nearly 10 minutes, recording everything with an infrared camera. Here's where it gets interesting. The object wasn't just a random dot in the sky. It appeared to emit 2 streams of some unknown substance while flying, something that definitely isn't normal aircraft behavior. Even better, radar didn't pick it up. The Chilean Air Force tried to match the object to known flight paths, satellites, or any logical explanation, but came up empty. For 2 years, the footage was analyzed by Chile's top aviation experts before the government finally released it in 2017, labeling it an unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is basically the official way of saying, yeah, we have no idea what that was. While skeptics later suggested it could have been a commercial jet dumping fuel, the Chilean military disagreed, leaving this one of the best documented UFO cases ever caught on camera. 14. Go Fast, Gimbal, and FLIR 1 videos. The Go Fast, Gimbal, and FLIR 1 videos are basically the holy trinity of modern UFO footage. Released in 2017 and later confirmed as real by the Pentagon, these clips show U.S. Navy pilots encountering unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, that defy everything we know about aviation. The FLIR 1 video, captured during the now famous Tic Tac incident in 2004, shows a smooth, white oblong object moving erratically over the ocean. It had no wings, no exhaust, and no visible means of propulsion, yet it moved faster than anything the Navy had. The gimbal video, recorded in 2015, is especially bizarre because it shows a rotating UFO. The pilots tracking it can be heard freaking out because aircraft aren't supposed to pivot like that. The infrared footage suggests the object was emitting no heat signature, meaning no engines, no afterburners, nothing. Then there's Go Fast, also from 2015, which captures a low-altitude object zipping over the ocean at insane speeds. The pilots managed to lock onto it, but there's no explanation for how it's moving that fast without any visible propulsion. These aren't grainy, easily dismissed clips. They were recorded using military-grade tracking systems, and the Pentagon itself has acknowledged them. Congress has discussed them. Top pilots have gone on record saying, "Yeah, we have no clue what these things are." And to this day, no one has come up with a solid explanation. If UFOs are real, this is some of the best proof yet, even if NASA doesn't want to confirm it. 13th, Katrina's sighting in Henderson, Nevada. Katrina's sighting in Henderson, Nevada is one of those UFO moments that feels straight out of a sci-fi movie, except it was caught on camera and ended up on TMZ. In 2024, Katrina and her friends were outside when they noticed a bright light hovering in the night sky. At first, they assumed it was a plane, maybe even a drone. But then it did something that ruled out both possibilities. It moved in ways that normal aircraft just don't. The video, which quickly made its way online, shows the light shifting positions, accelerating without any visible propulsion, and at one point just hanging in the air like it was defying gravity. The group's reactions say it all. They're in complete disbelief, throwing out every theory they can think of while watching something that by all accounts shouldn't be happening. Given the recent government disclosures about UAPs, Katrina's sighting fits right into the larger conversation. The Pentagon has openly admitted that they don't know what's in the sky half the time, and videos like this only add to the mystery. Some skeptics chalk it up to an optical illusion or an unknown military project, but others believe it's another piece of the UFO puzzle. Either way, when a simple night out turns into a full-blown UAP sighting that lands on TMZ, you know something weird is going on. 12th, Las Vegas family encounter. The Las Vegas family UFO and alien encounter is one of the wildest and most bizarre cases in recent memory. It all started on April 30th, 2023, when a Las Vegas family called 911 after claiming that something not human had landed in their backyard. This wasn't just another blurry light in the sky. This was full-on aliens in the yard territory. The story got serious when a nearby police officer's body cam actually captured a bright, glowing object streaking down from the sky around the same time. Moments later, the family reported seeing two giant figures, estimated to be at least 8 to 10 feet tall, standing near what they described as a crashed object. According to the caller, these beings had big, shiny eyes and a non-human presence that completely freaked them out. They were so terrified that they refused to go back outside. By the time the police arrived, the supposed beings had vanished, leaving behind no clear evidence of what had just happened. While skeptics were quick to dismiss it as hysteria or a prank, the combination of the police footage, the 911 call, and the raw fear in the family's voices made it one of the most compelling UFO encounters in years. Some believe it was a real extraterrestrial event, while others think there's a more earthly explanation, but either way, something happened that night in Las Vegas, and nobody has been able to fully explain it. 11th, ancient Mexican aliens. The Mexico alien mummies were one of the strangest UFO-related spectacles of 2023. In September, journalist and longtime UFO believer Jaime Maussan stood before the Mexican Congress and dramatically unveiled two tiny fossilized figures he claimed were non-human entities. If that wasn't wild enough, he also claimed they were over 1,000 years old and contained DNA that didn't match any known species on Earth. The mummies, which were supposedly found near Peru's Nazca Lines in 2017, had bizarre features: elongated skulls, three-fingered hands, lightweight bones, and even retractable necks. Basically, they looked like aliens straight out of a low-budget sci-fi movie. Maussan argued they were proof of extraterrestrial life, but the rest of the world wasn't so sure. Scientists immediately pushed back, saying the mummies were likely a mix of human and animal remains that had been modified to look alien. Peru's forensic experts even chimed in, pointing out that similar alien mummies had already been debunked before. Then there's Maussan himself. This isn't his first time making huge extraterrestrial claims that fell apart under scrutiny. His track record made many people skeptical right from the start, but that didn't stop the internet from running with the story. US Congressman Tim Burchett even called for independent researchers to study them. Whether Whether they're real, fake, or just an elaborate hoax, the mystery still hasn't been completely solved. Until we get an answer, they'll remain one of the weirdest alien discoveries ever put on display. 10th, tiny being. The Atacama skeleton, or Atta, might be one of the strangest human remains ever found, or, if you ask UFO enthusiasts, proof that extraterrestrial visitors have been leaving behind their tiny, big-eyed offspring. Discovered in 2003 in Chile's Atacama Desert, Atta's 6-inch frame, elongated skull, and oversized eye sockets made her look exactly like the stereotypical depiction of an alien. If that wasn't weird enough, she also had only 10 ribs instead of 12, which is basically unheard of in normal human anatomy. When researchers examined Atta's bones, things only got more confusing. They expected her to be a newborn, but her skeleton showed signs of maturity, meaning she might not have been an infant. Naturally, theories exploded. Some believed she was an alien-human hybrid, while others connected her to local legends about small, otherworldly beings seen in the Atacama Desert. Then there were the usual wild ideas, government experiments, secret genetic mutations, and of course, extraterrestrial tampering. Science, as always, had other ideas. DNA testing showed Atta was human, likely of Chilean descent, with severe genetic mutations that could explain her unusual skeletal structure. Some researchers suspected conditions like dwarfism or progeria, though no single diagnosis fully explained everything. And since the DNA was degraded, some gaps remain. Skeptics insist Atta is just an extreme case of human mutation, but UFO believers aren't letting go of the mystery. Until someone finds another tiny, skull-stretched skeleton buried in the desert, the debate over her origins isn't going anywhere. 9. The Martian monolith. In 2009, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter snapped a photo of something that should not exist, a massive, perfectly rectangular object standing all by itself on the Martian surface. It looked like a giant monolith just sitting there, as if someone or something had placed it intentionally. Naturally, NASA rushed to calm everyone down. "Oh, don't worry, it's just a rock," they said. Totally natural. Nothing weird here. Right, because nature is constantly out here carving giant, smooth-edged rectangles in the middle of nowhere. Look, I get that erosion can do some wild things, but what are the odds of a chunk of rock breaking that perfectly? And just to make things even sketchier, there's another one on Phobos, one of Mars's moons. Buzz Aldrin, of all people, even pointed it out, saying humans should probably check it out. But sure, let's all pretend that's not weird at all. So, either Mars and its moon just happen to have these weirdly geometric formations hanging around for no reason, or there's a much bigger story we're not being told. I'm not saying it's an alien artifact, but if some ancient Martians did leave a message behind, this would be exactly the kind of thing they'd use. And if NASA ever accidentally deletes these photos, well, guess we'll know why. 8. The Apollo 17 Pyramid. During the Apollo 17 mission in 1972, astronauts were busy snapping photos of the moon when one particular image caught people's attention, a pyramid-like structure just sitting there on the lunar surface. Now, the moon is supposed to be all craters and rocks, right? So why does this thing look suspiciously like a giant geometric formation straight out of ancient Egypt? NASA's response? The usual. "Oh, that's just a lighting effect, shadows playing tricks on your eyes." Because apparently the moon is just one big optical illusion. But here's the problem. This isn't the first time something weird has been spotted up there. And if it were just a random rock formation, why does it have such sharp angles and a symmetrical shape? Natural processes don't usually sculpt things to look like giant pyramids, especially on a place as geologically dead as the moon. Of course, theories went wild. Some say it's evidence of an ancient alien civilization, a remnant of a lost lunar outpost. Others think it could be an artificial structure buried under layers of dust, slowly being revealed over time. And then there's the idea that Apollo 17 accidentally captured something it wasn't supposed to, something NASA would rather we ignore. 7. The Moon Spire. In 1967, NASA's lunar orbiter snapped a photo of something that shouldn't exist, a thin, towering spire rising from the moon's surface. Unlike the usual craters and flat landscapes, this thing stood straight up, casting a long, undeniable shadow. A glitch, a dust smudge, that's what NASA wanted people to believe. But the problem is, glitches don't cast shadows. Are you seeing the theme I'm seeing here? Once the image got out, theories exploded. Some believed the spire was an artificial structure, possibly an alien tower, or even the remains of an old extraterrestrial base. Others thought it could be some bizarre, naturally formed rock formation, though that still wouldn't explain how it ended up standing by itself. If it were just another boring lunar rock, why did NASA seem so uninterested in discussing it? Could this be proof of something more? Maybe. Or maybe it's just another one of those things we're supposed to ignore while NASA pretends it doesn't exist. 6th Dark Knight Satellite. In 1998, during the STS-88 space shuttle mission, NASA astronauts were out there doing their thing when they accidentally photographed something weird, a dark, irregularly shaped object floating in orbit. It wasn't part of the shuttle. It wasn't space debris anyone could identify. It was just there, and naturally, people started asking questions. Enter the legend of the Dark Knight Satellite, an alleged ancient alien probe that's supposedly been orbiting Earth for thousands of years, watching us like some intergalactic surveillance drone. Some theorists believe this thing could be evidence of an advanced extraterrestrial civilization keeping tabs on humanity. And let's be real, if aliens were spying on us, wouldn't they have something lurking nearby? NASA, of course, had a way less exciting explanation. They claimed the object was just a thermal blanket that had come loose during the mission. Right, because thermal blankets are known for holding a stable orbit and looking nothing like a piece of standard space junk. Skeptics insist the satellite is just a misidentified object, but the fact remains, this thing showed up in a real NASA photograph, and its strange shape, eerie presence, and the conveniently dismissive explanations only add to the mystery. Whether it's an alien artifact, a secret military project, or just some seriously weird space debris, the Dark Knight Satellite refuses to fade into obscurity. And if it is watching us, well, let's just hope it likes what it sees. 5. The Apollo 11 Alien Base. Apollo 11 was supposed to be all about landing on the moon and planting the flag, but somewhere in all that historic excitement, NASA managed to snap a photo that really shouldn't exist. The image in question appears to show strange lights on the lunar surface, small, glowing spots that look an awful lot like artificial structures, and naturally this kicked off theories that Apollo 11 might have stumbled across an alien base. NASA's official stance: nothing to see here, just light reflections and camera noise, because of course the moon is famously known for its glowing lights. But if it's just a reflection, why do these lights appear structured, almost like they're coming from a clustered group of buildings? More importantly, why do other Apollo missions have similar reports of unexplained lights? Some believe Apollo 11 wasn't alone. Either they were being watched or they accidentally caught evidence of a hidden extraterrestrial presence. Others think these lights could be remnants of an ancient civilization, maybe a long-abandoned lunar outpost. Whatever the case, this isn't just a one-off mystery. There are multiple Apollo images showing weird anomalies on the moon, and NASA's go-to response is always the same: deny, dismiss, and move on. But let's be real, if there was something up there, would they actually tell us? Jupiter face. NASA really knows how to time these things, huh? Just before Halloween 2023, they decided to drop a new Juno image of Jupiter, what looked exactly like a massive frowning face glaring at us from Jupiter. Captured on September 7th, during Juno's 54th flyby, the photo revealed swirling storms in Jupiter's northern region, Jet N7, forming a hauntingly human-like expression: droopy eyes, a furrowed brow, and even a distinct nose, like the gas giant itself had just received some bad news. NASA, of course, dismissed it as pareidolia, the brain's tendency to see faces in random patterns. But let's be real, this wasn't some vague resemblance. This thing had features way too well defined to ignore. It even drew comparisons to Edvard Munch's The Scream, adding to the unsettling vibe. And the fact that NASA released it just before Halloween, almost too perfect. Some took it as a cosmic coincidence, while others joked that Jupiter was finally reacting to the mess Earth has become. Either way, the timing, the expression, and the sheer size of this planetary face made it feel like the universe itself was watching and judging. 3. The lights on Ceres. When NASA's Dawn spacecraft sent back images of Ceres in 2015, one detail stood out immediately: bright glowing spots inside a crater that shouldn't be there. The dwarf planet, located in the asteroid belt, was expected to be a dull, rocky world. Instead, these mysterious lights in a crater had everyone asking the same question. What are we looking at? NASA's explanation: the lights are likely reflective salt deposits left behind by ancient underground water activity. Sure, that sounds reasonable, except for the fact that the spots are incredibly bright, almost as if something is actively illuminating them. Some images even show the lights appearing to shift slightly, leading to wild speculation about everything from geothermal activity to, of course, an underground alien base. To make things even stranger, scientists discovered that Ceres has a thin atmosphere that seems to change depending on the time of day. Coincidence? Maybe. But all of this makes this dead planet sound like the perfect place for aliens to call home. 2. The Mars humanoid. In 2007, NASA's Spirit rover captured an image that sent conspiracy theorists into overdrive. A blurry, humanoid-shaped figure sitting on a rock in the Martian landscape. The internet immediately lost its mind. Was this proof of an intelligent being on Mars? A statue left behind by an ancient civilization? Or maybe just a very unimpressed alien taking a break while NASA's rover unknowingly snapped a picture? NASA, being NASA, quickly shut down the excitement, saying it was just another case of pareidolia, our brain's habit of seeing patterns, especially faces and bodies, in random objects. In other words, it's just a rock. But skeptics weren't buying it. The figure looks eerily like a small humanoid with a defined head, torso, arms, and legs. Even the posture makes it seem like it's sitting there, watching. The truth, according to NASA, it is probably just a weirdly shaped rock, but given how little we actually know about Mars, it's fun to imagine a tiny Martian just chilling while NASA explores its planet. First, pillars of creation. The pillars of creation might be one of the most breathtaking space images ever taken, courtesy of the Hubble Space Telescope in 1995. Located in the Eagle Nebula, about 6,500 light-years away, these towering columns of gas and dust look like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Standing several light-years tall, they're basically the cosmic version of ancient ruins, except instead of being abandoned, they're literally creating new stars. NASA describes them as stellar nurseries, where baby stars are forming inside dense clouds of gas. But let's be honest, if you didn't know that, you'd probably just assume they were massive space fingers reaching out into the void. And if that wasn't cool enough, the newer images from the James Webb Space Telescope show them in even greater detail, revealing just how dynamic and chaotic these pillars really are. The best part? Despite the name, they might not actually exist anymore. Since light takes thousands of years to reach us, the pillars of creation could have been destroyed by a nearby supernova millennia ago. But that's where the question comes. Is there anything out there keeping it all in place? And we just happen to catch a glimpse of it by accident. Which side of the argument do you land on?